Yo, what's good, guys? It's Austin here, or Luna. So today's story time is a pretty good one in my opinion. But before I jump into that, I just want to say I stream almost daily. I usually stream Among Us, and sometimes I stream other games as well over on Twitch. So I'll leave that first link in the description if you want to go follow it and keep up with me on there. I'll be streaming after this video goes up. I'll be playing some Among Us for a while. So yeah, come check that out if you want to. You don't have to. But anyway, today's story time. The topic is cheating. Now, I've been wronged before in relationships. I think anyone that's watched this channel for more than a week probably knows that. I definitely tell a lot of story times about all the different relationships I've been in and how they've kind of crashed and burned. But this one's definitely an interesting one in my opinion. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Leave a like on the video if you do enjoy this. And let's jump right into this story time today. So this story time takes place back in 2018. I was living in my hometown at this point, and I was dating this girl at the time. Let's just call her Emma, okay? Now, me and Emma had started dating kind of recently. We had been dating for about 3 months at this point when the story time takes place. And yeah, around this time, I really had no complaints. She seemed really cool. She didn't seem toxic or anything. We had a good thing going. We had fun when we would hang out. It was cool. Like, all of our friends got along. That was a really good thing. So yeah, for the most part, around this time, I had no complaints. I honestly thought, like, wow, finally, I found somebody that's not going to cheat on me or lie to me or steal from me or just rip out my heart and eat it with a side of Caesar salad, you know? Like, it seemed like it was going to be a good thing. Well, nope, I was wrong. So this story time starts off as a normal day. I woke up. She actually spent the night at my apartment, and she was on her phone in my bed, and I was laying down next to her, and I was watching Netflix, and I'm seeing her text somebody, right? Now, I'm not the type of dude who's mad insecure is going to look over and watch someone text when they're right next to me. So I was trying my best to just look away, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to eavesdrop or, read someone's text. I'm just not that type of dude. But as I was watching Netflix, she put her phone up to me and she's like, look at this photo my friend John just sent me. And it was some meme that this guy John sent her. Now, I had met or knew about pretty much all of her friends at this point, so the name John was new to me. And I was like, oh, who's John? Because I'd never heard the name before. I wasn't asking it from like an insecure standpoint. I didn't care. I just really wanted to know who this friend of hers was because I'd never heard of him before. And she's like, it's just a friend, Austin, calm down. And all of a sudden she gets super defensive. She's like, why are you questioning me so hard? And I was like, I just asked you who's John. I've never heard of him before. Like, the way I asked it was not from a place of insecurity. Like, I didn't care whatsoever. I literally just said, oh, who's John? I've never heard of him before. Because I want to know who her friend was. And she's like, well, I don't know. It seems like you're really questioning me super hard. And I'm like, I just asked you one question. Like, what do you mean? And she's like, I don't know. It just seems like that. And I'm like, all right, fine. Like, I won't ask again. And she goes, okay, good. And for your information, I met him at college. I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's all you had to say. And she goes, I don't think so. And she rolls her eyes at me and then just goes back to texting on her phone. And I was thinking to myself, like, okay, that was a little bit strange. Like, she got real defensive right there. But you know what? I'm not going to think about it. Like, no big deal. It's just a friend from college, right? Like, I had been dating Emma for like 3 months, and she hadn't done anything to this point to break my trust. So I honestly just trusted her, and I thought that she was just getting defensive because maybe my tone came off as like aggressive or something. But I don't know. I tried not to think much of it. We went on with our day after that. We just hung out at my apartment all day. And it was a pretty normal day after that. Like, the whole rest of that day and night was great. Well, fast forward like 2 weeks later, it was Halloween time. And yes, I had to tell this story time on Halloween. It was only appropriate, okay? So anyway, it was Halloween. Me and Emma had plans to go to this like Halloween hayride thing. It was like some haunted hayride. And they had like a haunted house there as well. And I was stoked. Like, Halloween is one of my favorite holidays of all time. Like, whenever Halloween comes around, I get excited. It's just fun hanging out with all my friends and people I like and going to places where they try and scare you shitless. Like, just sounds like a fun time to me. So I wanted to go to this place really bad. And me and Emma had plans to. And I was stoked. Right? Well, 30 minutes before we were supposed to go to this place, she cancels on me. She's like, I can't do it tonight. Something came up. Like, I'm sorry. And I was like, oh, what happened? And she's like, it's a family emergency. I don't want to talk about it right now. Like, I'll call you later. And I'm like, all right, fair enough. Like, hit me up later. And she goes, okay, are you still going to go? And I was like, I'm not sure. I'll probably go. Some of my friends are going, so I'll probably go with them. And she goes, okay, sounds good. I'm like, all right. So like 30 minutes go by and I text one of my friends and I'm like, hey man, can I go with you to the Halloween thing tonight? Like, my girlfriend bailed. And he's like, yeah man, for sure. We'll come pick you up right now. I'm like, thanks dude. So I'm waiting for them to come pick me up and I get a call from Emma. And I answer the phone. I'm like, hello? And she sounds like she's crying. And I'm like, what's wrong? Like, what's going on? She's like, I'm sorry I couldn't go tonight. Like, my grandma, she got really, really, really sick. I have to go visit her at the hospital tonight. And I was like, I'm so sorry about that. Like, do not worry about the Halloween thing tonight at all. Just go be with your grandma, be with your family. It's totally fine. Like, take all the time you need. And she's like, thank you so much. Like, you're the best. I'll call you later. I'm like, okay, no problem. And we hang up, right? And I felt bad for her. I felt genuinely bad for her. Like, it's Halloween. It was one of her favorite holidays as well, and she couldn't be there because she had to be with her grandma, who was one of the closest people to her because she was sick. So I was just feeling really bad for her. Like, I was really hoping she'd call me later and say that her grandma felt better. And yeah, I just felt bad for her. So fast forward, my friends get to my house. They pick me up. We drive over to this haunted hayride place. We go on the haunted hayride. And it was fun, but it wasn't very fun because in the back of my mind, I was worried about my girl and her family. But yeah, I get off the hayride and my friends were like, yo, let's do it again. And I was like, I don't know if I really want to. Like, we know what's going to happen now. It won't be as fun or scary. And they're like, all right, well, why don't we do the haunted house? And I'm like, yeah, why not? So we go to the haunted house and we hop in line. And I see someone in front of us in line that looks a little bit familiar. And I look at my friend, I'm like, yo, doesn't that look like my girlfriend? And he's like, yeah, it kind of does. And I'm just looking at this girl thinking like, wow, she looks a lot like Emma. That's crazy. And she's dressed up as a nurse with like fake blood all over her. And there's a guy next to her that's dressed up as a doctor with fake blood all over him. And then I thought to myself like, okay, that can't be Emma because she's with a guy. Like Emma is with me and she wouldn't cheat on me, right? But right after I have that thought, the girl turns around and I see a real clear view of her face. And immediately I'm like, oh, that's Emma. That's my girlfriend that's here probably cheating on me. And she sees me and I see her and we both make eye contact for like a solid second. And she immediately turns around and I'm like, Emma? And she turns back around and goes, Austin, like, what are you doing here? And I'm like, you knew we were coming here. I told you that. And you were supposed to be here with us. But aren't you supposed to be in the hospital with your sick grandma? And this guy turns around and he looks at us and he's like, what's going on? And I'm like, this is my girlfriend. And he goes, this is my girlfriend. And I'm like, yeah, we're getting played, man. And all of a sudden, Emma starts crying, like just bursts out into tears, crying hysterically. And all of my friends are just dead silent because it's so awkward. And she's like, I'm so sorry to both of you. Like, I'm so sorry. I haven't been honest. I'm so sorry. And I'm like, that's fine. That's enough. And me and my friends just walk away. Because I'm not just going to stand there and deal with that. Like, that was way too much. Like, way too many people were around. And I just felt so stupid. So me and my friends left. We went back to the hayride. We went on the hayride again. And the whole time, me and my friends just talked about what just happened. And I wasn't even, like, sad or anything. I was just shocked. Like, it's so messed up to lie about your family and say that your grandma is super sick in the hospital just to go and cheat on somebody. Like, cheating alone is horrible to do. But cheating and then making up a lie like that to go with it, it's not okay. Like, none of it's okay whatsoever. So anyway, after that hayride, me and my friends leave all together. We go back to my friend's house. And they were all like, yo, are you good, Austin? Like, you okay? I'm like, dude, I'm totally fine. Like, I'm just kind of embarrassed. And they were like, yeah, we get it, bro. Like, if you need anything, let us know. And they were all being super supportive. Like, I really appreciate them. But yeah, the rest of that night, I just kind of like stayed away from my phone and just kind of watched Netflix at my friend's house and just played video games on his Xbox. That's really all I did. And the next day she called me and I answer it. And I'm like, what's up? She's like, I'm so sorry for cheating. I'm like, don't worry about it. We're done. And she's like, we're done? That's it? And I was like, yeah, what else will we do? And she gets an attitude with me. She's like, can I have another chance at least? I'm like, no. And she goes, why not? I broke up with the other one. Like, I just want to be with you. I'm like, well, if you just wanted to be with me, you could have just been with me the first time and not cheated. And she was like, fine, Austin. And she hangs up on me and blocks my number. I knew this because when I went to text her after the phone call, I texted her a question mark and it didn't go through. And yeah, that was the end of our relationship. I never heard from her again. She never heard from me. Like, very abrupt ending. That was it. Hopefully she stopped lying about her family to people. Like, that was not a good thing to do. And cheating wasn't a good thing to do, so I hope she didn't do that anymore either. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much the end of the story time. Not really the happiest ending, but I thought, on Halloween, I'd tell a Halloween story time. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Moral of this story is be loyal. Don't lie to people. Don't cheat. Not a good thing to do. And yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this story time. If you did, please leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below. And subscribe if you're new. I'll see you all later. Peace. They leave me out for the dead and now they know